Fleming again. I want to do a piece here about the persecution of homosexual transsexuals. HSTS are one of the most victimised groups in society, and always have been. 30 years ago they would have been the subject of relentless institutionalised homophobia, which was not just at the hands of the society at large, and it was also at the hands of the professionals who were meant to care for them. Homosexual transsexuals would find themselves treated with testosterone, which is the absolute worst thing you can ever do for an HSTS. They would find themselves conditioned to think that they were gay boys rather than what they are, which is homosexual transsexuals. And their situation was appalling. And to be honest with you, it's not much better now. It is better, but it's not much better. It takes a rare star like Blair White to come forward and say, look, pay attention to me because I'm not like the others. Today, the main persecution of HSTS comes not from the broader society, which largely is confused but tolerant. We live in the West, and the West is the most tolerant and inclusive society on the planet. So generally speaking, people have become very open towards HSTS, and there isn't really the stigma or the risks that they used to face. And certainly in terms of treatment and care, their lot is massively improved. However, they have real enemies. There are two principal enemies of homosexual transsexuals who persecute them relentlessly. They never stop. And the first group is homosexual men. Isn't that amazing? And I believe it was 2000 or maybe 2001, a leading homosexual activist, gay activist called Jim Furat, stood up at a conference in New York and said that he thought that transsexuals were going to destroy the way that we, that is gays, lived their lives. And Jim was dumped on extremely heavily by autogynephilic transgenders, whom we'll come to, and he wasn't talking about them, but you know, they just dump on anybody. What he was articulating was the inherent transphobia of the homosexual man, the person I call the new gay man. All feminine gay men, and that is most gay men, are themselves feminine. And I've spoken to enough people who were once gay men who transitioned into HSTS trans women to know that within the gay community, and I know enough gay men myself, to know that within the gay community, gender dysphoria is rampant. It's really common. And this causes these gay men to be extremely bitter. They have chosen a path in life which is at odds with their natural instinct, which is to appear feminine, and to act feminine, and to be feminine. And this has led them to, since the 1960s, to attack homosexual transsexuals relentlessly, to try to erase them. Within the homosexual, the new gay man community, signs of effeminacy are absolutely not allowed. Anyone who demonstrates this will be attacked, not physically but verbally, and they will be shut down. They will be excluded and they will be shunned for appearing to be too feminine. The whole thing about the new gay man is his faux masculinity, this pretense that they're masculine. There's two problems. The first is that they hate the fact that homosexual transsexuals actually do what they themselves would do. They often make this claim that HSTS are afraid to be gay men. It's totally the other way around. Feminine gay men are afraid to be HSTS. They're conditioned not to be. They're afraid of social intolerance, and they're afraid of the peer pressure of the group that they live in. That is the other new gay men, that they will be ostracised by that group if they turn into women. So they relentlessly attack HSTS whenever they can. These are not the allies of HSTS, I'm afraid. They should be. In the West, it's slightly different in other cultures, but in the West this is a really clear divide, and it comes from something we'll discuss in another programme, which is the development of the new gay man and accommodationist homosexuality. That's not the point here. The other group which impacts and does enormous damage to HSTS are autogynephilic transgenders. We'll call them that here. These are the non-homosexual variety. Okay, that's the big ones. You know, we've already said this, we know this. HSTS tend to be small, neotenous, pretty, cute, feminine, and are absolutely boy crazy. Non-homosexuals are just like every other guy, except they wear women's clothes. They detest HSTS. They lose no opportunity to erase them. Their behaviour toward them is appalling, and the reason is they don't want them there. They just don't want them to exist. Because if you put an HSTS from any ethnicity, there's always a clear separation between the types. Particularly obvious in the West, however. You take a white Western HSTS and put her in the same room as an AGP, and nobody will have any doubt about what's going on here. You would have to be blind not to see that they're totally different. And AGPs who are constantly, oh, we're real women, we're real women, we're real women. As soon as an HSTS walks in, you go, what's that? She looks like a woman. She behaves like a woman. She's incredibly feminine and beautiful. And what? And their whole case is totally demolished. And because AGPs are masculine, because they certainly, most of them, lived most of their lives as men, they're fully socialised as males, and they have had fully masculinized under the effects of testosterone, effectively they're bullies. And that's what they do. They will bully HSTS to get them to shut up, and so that AGPs will take centre stage. Now, to give you an example, a really egregious one by the way, of how autogynephiles oppress and erase HSTS, I'll tell you about the case of Jai Dara Lato. Now, Jai is a Scottish HSTS transsexual from Peebles in the Borders of my home country. And good on you, Jai, by the way. She won the 2015 Miss Trans UK title, and so she should have. She's gorgeous. This was stripped from her title was stripped from her by the event organiser, Rachel Bailey, who is in fact herself autogynephilic. And the reason she gave was that Dara had been seen at the gym working out wearing a pair of boxer shorts. Well, I know plenty of girls who go to the gym wearing boxer shorts, for goodness sake. But Rachel says underwear is very important for trans women. What a load of pish. Underwear is very important to autogynephilic transgenders. It's not at all important to homosexual transsexuals because they know they're girls. An HSTS doesn't feel any more confirmed or less confirmed by wearing a pair of boxer shorts at the gym than a natal woman does. She knows what she is. Her identity and her sense of self is not wrapped up in the clothes that she wears, in the way that it is for autogynephilic transgenders. And let's be honest, we're being nice, because really what they are is transvestite. So that's a really good example of how an HSTS was insulted, erased, and made to feel awful and as if she was worthless by an autogynephile, because she wouldn't live life by standards which autogynephiles think are important. Now that is oppression, folks. Most of what's talked about in oppression at the moment, it's not at all. But that is egregious. That's appalling. And this is what's happening all across the world, well, the Western world, is that HSTS, who are the real transsexuals, let's be clear, are being erased and their identity colonised by autogynephilic transgenders, voire transvestites. The AGPs don't want HSTS to exist. What they want is to steal their identity. Right? When AGPs know perfectly well that they're not really women, but they know that HSTS kind of are. So HSTS should not exist. And this is really, really, really offensive. And the way that poor Jai was treated, that's worse than evil. It's just evil. And I do hope that nobody in their right minds will support this travesty, pun, of a beauty contest in the future. You know, to strip a young girl of her happiness because she went down the gym in a pair of boxer shorts. It tells you something about the underlying nature of the Western AGP. And it's true of autogynephiles in most places, but white AGPs in the West can be very, very difficult. And they have no sympathy whatsoever for HSTS. None. They are not the allies of HSTS. They claim to be the same, and they're nothing like them. They're nothing like them. I can guarantee you, if you meet an HSTS, white HSTS in the West, any HSTS anywhere really, but we're talking about white ones in the West because Jai is Scottish and white like me, and they're the nicest people you'll ever meet. They're just lovely. They're just lovely, lovely people and harmless. Sure, I mean, you annoy one and she will react, but in general terms, they're lovely, lovely individuals. That's not something you can easily say about autogynephiles, I'm afraid. And it's just awful the way that autogynephiles abuse homosexual transsexuals. And somebody needs to speak out about this and stop them, because it's not right. The autogynephiles appoint themselves as the spokespeople for all MTF. And yet, are they even a majority? There are some things in the world that make you angry, you know. And the way that HSTS get abused by other people who claim to be oppressed is one of the things that really annoys me. So there you are. That was really in response to someone who asked why I'm interested in this, and that's one of the reasons. I don't like to see injustice like that. And I think it's even worse when I see people who are inflicting harm on one group claiming that they are themselves victims.